Last year, our officers did tremendous work in terms of keeping our community safe by recovering approximately 2,100 illegal guns from the streets. Now, this represented a 240 more illegal guns than were recovered in 2018. And so far in 2020, we have recovered 15% over last year, recovering 320 firearms year to date. Now, to speak more on this is Major Alan Rutledge. He's the major over the CMPD's North Patrol Service area, and he will outline some of the work committed to removing illegal guns from our community. This time I'll turn it over to Major Rutledge. Major.
Thank you. So you've just heard Captain Koch talk a little bit about some of the monumental work that went on last year. That work continues on this year. In fact, in January alone, CMPD has recovered more than 250 firearms. That's the most in a single month since we've been tracking that information. Specialized units within the department oftentimes get a lot of the attention when it comes to gun recoveries and also the work that they do as it pertains to reducing violent crime. Just 6 months ago, I stood in front of you talking about the implementation of a new unit that we put in place, the Shooting and Occupied Dwelling Task Force. The goal of that unit at the time was to focus on prolific violent offenders. That was in response to the increase in violent crime that we were seeing at the time. In those 6 months, the Shooting and Occupied Dwelling Task Force has made 75 arrests, recovered 46 guns. 15 of those guns had been reported stolen. While these specialized units do a tremendous job for us and do a great deal of the work, the lion's share of that work in terms of recovering illegal firearms is done by our patrol divisions. This is where the rubber hits the road. These are the cops that are out on the street 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, keeping our community safe. The type of firearms that we're seeing out there should concern all of us. They pose a danger to our officers as well as to the public. These aren't just revolvers or handguns. We're talking about high-powered rifles to include AK-47s and AR-15s. Now, let me give you a couple of examples of some of the work that's been done. This is very, very recent work as well, so we didn't have to go back very far to find some just exceptional work being done. Westover officers executed a search warrant on a subject that had been arrested for drugs. Upon executing the search warrant, officers located 3 adults and 2 children inside the apartment. The ages of those children were ages 4 and 12. Also located inside that apartment were 7 guns. One of those 7 guns was an AR-15 assault-style rifle. 4 of the 7 guns had previously been reported stolen. Also seized inside that apartment were 335 grams of heroin, 69 grams of cocaine, and 562 grams of marijuana. One of the subjects arrested as a result of that search warrant was Richard Latimer. He's a 5-time convicted felon, to include previous charges for possession of firearm by felon. He currently has 11 pending felony cases. Just earlier this week, officers responded to a reported subject that was looking into cars pulling on door handles at a local movie theater. When the officer arrived on scene, the suspect fled from officers. The officer pursued the subject on foot and apprehended him. Once he apprehended the subject, he determined the subject was armed with a handgun, had a handgun located in his waistband. That subject was an 18-year-old kid, basically, that is on probation currently. Last week, an officer in University City Division made a traffic stop on Eric Henderson. Also in the vehicle with Mr. Henderson was a loaded handgun. Mr. Henderson has a significant criminal history, is also a convicted felon, and has been arrested 27 prior times. He currently has 7 pending felony charges against him. If those type of examples aren't enough to concern you, We had close to 800 guns stolen out of vehicles last year. 800 guns stolen last year alone out of vehicles. We've had more than 100 guns stolen out of vehicles this year. Many of those vehicles were left unlocked. These are lawfully owned and possessed guns that are now in the hands of criminals. These guns that are now in the hands of these criminals will likely be used in future violent criminal acts. Guns being taken from vehicles continue to be a huge issue for us in the department, in spite of our campaigns, initiatives, press conferences that we've done. We seem to be hitting a brick wall when it comes to getting people to take their guns out of their cars. We implore to the gun-owning public to exercise responsible gun ownership and secure their weapons. Take any questions.
Major, was there, that's a large number recovered so far. Is there a major cache that was recovered in, or are those all individual or small numbers?
It's an array of things. You heard me talk about 7 weapons being recovered in a search warrant. So we do have some of those, but I will tell you the vast majority of those are one-offs. There are officers on the street that are going about their job day to day and come upon suspects that may possess one handgun or a rifle. So for the most part, those are one-offs, single guns recovered in an incident.
Major, you kind of spoke to it already, but the frustration and a message to people who are good folks,
Yep.
who have their guns in their cars, but on some level, I guess you have to say they're contributing to the problem, right?
We don't want to blame victims. However, they are certainly contributing to the problem. Again, we can't leave guns in cars. If you're going to be a gun owner, part of your responsibility of owning that weapon is to secure that weapon.
In the past, one of the local gun shops has distributed lock boxes for the cars. Is that practice not promoted or?
Yeah, it's certainly promoted, and again, how it's just not highly utilized. And truthfully, it's not always effective. So again, the best thing is for folks not to leave their firearms in their cars whatsoever.
But Major, since public education hasn't worked so far, do you think a policy change is needed? And if so, what would that look like?
Yeah, I don't know if we want to really get into the weeds in terms of changing the laws and to where we prosecute people for leaving their weapons in their cars or anything like that. But again, this is a simple solution, really simple solution. People just need to take responsibility and secure their weapons.
Or maybe not prosecution, but would you be in favor of like fines or something like that if someone was repeatedly, got a warning and then their gun?
It'd just be very difficult for us, I think, to, again, for fines, you've got to have, they're either civil or criminal penalties there.
The 250 guns recovered in January. I guess how do you kind of weigh, the positive as in, possibly preventing and getting some of these stolen guns off the street to with, not bad, but just, it's still a lot more work that needs to be done. I guess kind of how do you kind of weigh the positive of, getting the guns off the street by saying, man, it's still maybe more out there and things like that.
Yeah, it is, we're proud of the work that we're doing. We're really proud that we're able to recover 250 illegal firearms and get them off the street and prevent them from getting in the hands of criminals. However, it's equally frustrating when you've got officers that are, again, day in and day out, doing what they do best and trying to keep the public safe, and we continue to have these issues.
Anybody else? All right.
Thank you, Major.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Major Rutledge. Those cases that he did mention, we will send out information as well as pictures of those firearms. Next up, in late April of last year, the police department launched the Community Policing Crisis Response Team to help us better serve community members that are experiencing a mental or behavioral health crisis. Now, it's been 10 months since the CPCRT began working in the community, and the impact has been real. Here are just a few examples of the outstanding work that our clinicians and officers are doing. Just this past week, the CPCRT assisted a man who was in distress after losing his father. He found him deceased inside his home. The man was clearly in the throes of mental distress. Now, the unit worked with the clinician and provided an assessment and provided him with the resources he needed and connected him to the appropriate services. Last week, our CPCRT assisted a homeless man believed to be paranoid, schizophrenic, and violent. He was living in a makeshift campsite on city property. Now, instead of arresting him for trespassing, the CPCRT got him to the hospital to get the appropriate medical attention he desperately needed. And finally, earlier this month, the CPCRT assisted a man threatening to shoot himself in the head. The man told officers he often becomes violent when he gets mad. He simply ran out of his medicine. Now, the CPCRT intervened and got him to agree to go to the hospital for an evaluation and have his medicine refilled. Any of these situations that I just outlined had the potential for a violent outcome. The work that CPCRT is doing is literally saving lives. Now, with us today is Keisha Ginn. She is the president of Crisis LLC, and she supervises the clinicians assigned to work on the team. She'll go over some of the preliminary work that they have done over the past 10 months. Keisha.
Good morning. The primary objective of this team, the CPCRT unit, is working to prevent unnecessary arrest with the clinicians and officers providing alternate care when appropriate. This means that the CPCRT unit is providing referrals, community education, and supportive services to people here in the county and their families who are experiencing a crisis. By teaming CMPD crisis intervention trained officers up with licensed mental health clinicians, we're providing an early entry point to mental health treatment through intervention, diversion, and prompt case management and follow-up. Some of the outcomes associated since April 2019 until the middle of February of this year, the unit has been requested on more than 1,200 calls for service. The most common calls for service are related to suicide threats. CPCRT has had contact and assisted more than 721 people over this time frame, with 270 of those individuals being referred to either medical or mental health treatment through local hospitals. More than 400 people were referred and appropriately connected to community providers, for example, substance use and alcohol counseling, a psychiatric evaluation, outreach, etc. More than half of the referrals made through CPCRT were managed within 24 hours. So as you've heard, the team is certainly making an impact in the community. The ability for these clinicians to be able to use their skills and training, working in partnership with officers to get individuals and their families the help that they need has been very impressive over the last 10 months.
Any questions? Have you run into any violent encounters, and if so, how were those handled?
No violent encounters. Typically, the scenes are secure. We've spoken to that since the inception of the program. So the scenes are secure before the clinicians are actually stepping on the scene and actually trying to make that clinical assessment. So we've been very fortunate that we've not had any violent encounters to date.
Maybe I missed this with Officer Cobb speaking, but why did this program, where was the need, or how did the need become identified? Why did the program come here?
Sure. Well, as we all know, mental health and substance use, trauma in our community is progressively getting worse. Unfortunately, it's not getting better. And, most of these individuals who are in crisis, they call 911. And so there are officers typically the first on scene to respond. This program, it was the result of officers coming in contact and knowing that they needed some further assistance. Arresting individuals who are actively in an acute crisis is not necessarily the appropriate way to go. And so looking at the bigger scope in terms of keeping people in their community and connecting them to the appropriate community resources. We want positive outcomes when law enforcement has to intervene with someone experiencing a behavioral health issue.
And just to follow up, I guess I was just going to say, so this is more data, more driven by where officers came in contact with instead of the public, like the public reaching out and saying that we need this. This is more officers, what they see day to day.
Correct. There's some individuals, community partners, for example, family members who are aware of this unit now that we've, again, been operating for roughly 10 months. And so some of them reach out, because police presence is needed, but they also need that clinical aspect to it. So yeah, referrals come, primarily through the 911 system, but community partners and families alike.
Thank you very much. There's really some outstanding work, really much needed work that the CPCR team is doing in our community. Now finally, many of you know this is the final year the City of Charlotte is hosting the CIAA, and those events kick off in earnest this weekend. The event traditionally brings very large crowds to the city, and it requires a lot of planning and preparation. To discuss some of the planning and preparation that we have undertaken is Deputy Chief Jeff Estes, and he is here more to discuss that work. Chief Estes.
Thanks, Brad. Good morning. As he said, this is the looks like the last year for CIAA in Charlotte to host the tournament. I'd like to say, after having been involved since '06, the tournament, in my opinion, has been very well received, very well run. I think brought some positive things to the city of Charlotte. Anytime we have a large event, large numbers of people, there's some pretty extensive and thoughtful and careful planning that goes into ensuring that the public safety of all participants and the residents of the Uptown is kept at the forefront. This is no exception. As you know, there will be events held all over the Uptown and, in fact, in other areas of the city involving large groups of people, including a basketball tournament. There's also a ton of entertainment venues that'll be going on at the same time. We have done our very best to ensure that the public and attendees will be safe. As you might expect, there'll be some pretty heavy traffic in the area, particularly in the Uptown, so we always recommend that people take that into account as they're moving around in the Uptown over the weekend. We ask that you subscribe to our Twitter and our Facebook pages for traffic updates so that if you do have to travel up here, you'll know where to go. This has been I want to reemphasize, this has been the tournament itself has been a safe event through the years. We have had some incidents of violence in some entertainment venues later on after the tournament games have ended. Generally, those are not affiliated officially with the CIAA tournament, but are ancillary entertainment venues surrounding the festivities over the weekend. So we anticipate nothing but a good, solid CIAA weekend for the final one here before they move on next year. Any questions?
Chief, with the shortage of staff, we still have, 150 short? Does that put you guys in a tight spot for overtime and all hands on deck for an event like this?
Yeah, what we do here is that because we know in advance, we're able to maneuver our staffing models to ensure that no area of our jurisdiction is left short or uncovered while we're staffing for an event like this. So we have some flexibility. As I'm sure you're aware, we have a 24/7, 365 responsibility here. So basically what it means is that we adjust hours, officers who normally may work days come in and work nights, et cetera. So we're able to have some flexibility in our staffing models.
And is this a good trial run for a larger event that's coming maybe later this year?
I'm not sure what event you'd be talking about later in the year, but no, absolutely. Well, we're used to hosting events of this of this type, but certainly, you know, any dry runs we can get of any size will of course help us in our efforts.
How difficult is it when you have so many different venues? That used to be just in Uptown, now it's like out in East Charlotte, Uptown, there's so many different venues to cover.
Yeah, I mean, there's positives and negatives with being, you know, spread out geographically over larger areas. You know, a lot of those venues are fairly well self-contained. We just have to make sure we monitor the safety there and then have, of course, units available to respond in case we do get, you know, some sort of incidents. I want to just emphasize mainly those are, you know, traffic, crowding, those types of things that we have to be, you know, cognizant of.
To piggyback off that question a little bit, as you mentioned, you know, when there are incidents, it's typically not CIAA sponsored events. I guess, what can you tell us about how you identify those non-sanctioned events and kind of how you guys go about, you know, making sure everything's safe and all that?
Yeah, well, some of the things we just make sure, let's say there's an artist who's coming at a venue, we make sure that there's a good safety plan in place for the venue. In other words, that the proper permits are in place, that they have a security plan, an emergency evacuation plan, a parking plan, so that there is some preparation. We've generally seen that good planning makes good preparation, which makes a good performance. So if we've thought through these things, met with the owners, met with the promoters of the event, generally we can try to head off any of those things that happen. Quite frequently, you'll see somebody will get into an argument inside the club or the venue, and then it spills out in the parking lot, and then we get some, you know, some fights or some things like that.
Chief, have there been any takeaways over the years that you can bring to security, like this weekend, lessons learned, things like that?
Sure. Well, not just with Charlotte-Mecklenburg, but any special event we do, we have an after-action review that we do, and we bring that forward to the next event of that type or any other event, good takeaways that we have. So certainly, I mean, there are innumerable different small things here, there, traffic flow patterns, how many officers we need here, fire inspectors need to be on hand in this place, and so we absolutely take heed to lessons learned from one event to the next.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Do we have any other questions? Great. All have a great day. Thank you all for coming.